Want to know why? Ask how. Howard, the humongous. On Monday, March 24th, the Postmaster General and Chief Executive Officer of the United States Postal Service, Louis DeJoy, announced that it was his last day in office. In other words, he resigned without notice. DeJoy had been in office for 5 years, since Donald Trump appointed him in 2020, and he had been a subject of controversy. Some had hated him and protested against him. But why did he resign? The post office is a mammoth operation. It employs 630,000 people, more than the entire population of Atlanta, and delivers 425 million items a day. That's 8 times as many as Amazon, UPS, and the Federal Express combined. The post office is committed to equal service for all of us, no matter where we live, which means it will reach you in even the most remote rural area, in territory that Amazon, UPS, and Federal Express simply don't service. In fact, to reach these remote areas, Amazon, UPS, and Federal Express hire, guess who? The post office. Yes, Amazon, UPS, and Federal Express turn over your packages to the Postal Service to reach these last miles to your home if you live in a truly remote location. And the jobs from Amazon, UPS, and Federal Express provide the post office's biggest and most profitable revenue stream. So again, why did Louis DeJoy leave? And why did he leave us so suddenly? Why did Louis DeJoy leave? And why did he leave so suddenly? After all, he was in the middle of an ambitious 10-year plan to make the post office profitable, and he was succeeding. This last financial quarter was the first of DeJoy's quarters in which the post office made a profit, after losing $100 billion in the last 20 years. But things were not all rosy for Louis DeJoy. The left was certain he'd been hired to make sure that mail-in voters would not get their ballots and would be locked out of the 2020 election. During the COVID crisis, mail-in voters tended to be Democrats, and slowing down mail-in votes would have rigged the 2020 election for Donald Trump. But a later analysis showed this dark vision wasn't true. After lawsuits from over 20 states, congressional hearings, and shrieking headlines from the press, DeJoy prioritized ballots and took extraordinary measures to speed up ballot delivery. Nonetheless, DeJoy was picketed for removing hundreds of high-speed sorting machines and for cutting overtime that was costing the post office $5 billion a year. In fact, DeJoy had a plan to cut 10,000 postal employees and had just signed an agreement with Elon Musk's Doge to slim down the operation and make it more efficient. But DeJoy may have felt he was in danger of being fired. After all, Donald Trump has shown a habit of firing leaders he appointed in his first term. What's worse, Donald Trump called the Postal Service under DeJoy a tremendous loser. Word was that Trump wanted to fire the United States Postal Service Board of Governors and was intent on absorbing the post office into the Department of Commerce, a move that could possibly have stripped DeJoy of his autonomy or gotten rid of him altogether. He would have had to answer to Trump's Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, who saw this as the first move toward privatizing the Postal Service and getting it off the government's hands. After all, the Postal Service is no longer the vital means of communication it was when Ben Franklin founded it in 1775. That role is now filled by your phone, your chat groups, and your email. The plan to put the post office under Lutnick and the prospect of being managed by Elon Musk's Doge may have discouraged DeJoy. But there's another possible reason DeJoy left. He's in his late 60s. He has a wife and 2 kids in their 20s. He saw heading the Postal Service as his retirement job. Reportedly, 5 years was his goal for the Post Office General position. He saw the Post Office Generalship as his final legacy. Or, as DeJoy said in his departure statement, it was a crowning achievement of my career. This is Howard Bloom speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make. Or, want to know why? Ask how. And now, for this particular form of mysterious, sleazy, slimy little off button,